After school, a beautiful woman suddenly rushed into my arms holding a love letter. Her eyes were as soft and tender as water. And in a seductive, alluring voice, she said, "Makoto, this time, I will never make you wait 20 years for me again." I was still dumbfounded when I noticed there was also a man standing opposite us. His expression was one of shock and disappointment. In front of my eyes, a row of bullet comments flashed past. They read, "Heartless woman, gold digger, materialistic tramp." In the previous life, the male lead took care of her for his entire life. Even after a car accident left him paralyzed for over 10 years, he never abandoned her. And yet, after being reborn, she came straight to find the man she loved, the male supporting role. Shameless to the core. Another bullet comment replied, "A cheap woman like that is just waiting to be slapped in the face. The male lead will win over a rich, beautiful woman and reach the peak of life. You'll be tied to that vicious male supporting role forever." Before I could react, yet another bullet comment appeared. "I just want to fast forward to the scene at the class reunion 6 years later, where the heartless woman and the male supporting role get ruthlessly humiliated. And the male supporting role even gets his hand chopped off in public, for speaking disrespectfully to the male lead. Just imagining it feels so satisfying." After reading the bullet comments, all I could think was, what the hell? Chapter 1, 20 years of bitter waiting. Vicious male supporting role. Are they talking about me? And also, this beautiful woman hugging me right now, who the hell are you? Chapter 2, the girl's cheeks flushed pink, her face like a peach blossom. As she lifted her gaze to me, she said, "Makoto, in this life, we will never miss each other again. I've thought it through. I will always love you. If you eat instant noodles, I'll eat instant noodles with you. If you live in a basement, I'll live in that basement with you. No matter what you're like, no matter how hard life gets, I'll stay by your side to support you," she said. "From now on, we'll be together forever and ever. Okay." Still completely baffled, I pushed her away first, trying to process the situation. What was she even talking about? Why was she cursing me? Why did I have to eat instant noodles and live in a basement? The bullet comments were already buzzing. I can't believe this, just at the very start. I'm already fuming. In the last life, she watched a random interview where the male supporting role exaggerated his so-called tough past. She bawled her eyes out and remembered it all this time. But the male lead, he worked hard to earn money and refused to spend it on himself, spent it all on her, pampering her with the best food and drinks. Yet she acted like it was all her due. Another comment read, "The more she hurts him now, the faster the male lead will wake up. Brother, take my advice, our blessings come later. Let the male supporting role enjoy that pile of crap." I glanced over. The man across from me looked haggard, his expression bleak. He clenched his fists, lowered his head, and with disappointment and resignation, turned to leave. Got it. A double rebirth. Self-torturing, wife-chasing, face-slapping feel-good revenge novel. Guess my 2 years of VIP subscription on that novel site weren't for nothing. The crowd around us was still jeering, chanting, "Be together, be together." I cleared my throat, stepped forward, perfectly sidestepped the love letter in her hand, and put a hand on her shoulder. "Listen, little sister," I said sincerely, "don't pull these pointless stunts. Maybe you like public confessions and think they're romantic, but to me, it's just awkward. Not to mention, we're total strangers. Why are you hugging me? If the roles were reversed, wouldn't you accuse me of sexual harassment?" I shrugged. "I get your feelings, but women will only slow down my problem-solving and studying speed." With a roguish wink, I brushed past her, my coat hem flicking in the wind, leaving her standing there dumbfounded. What remained for the crowd was just the glowing, untouchable silhouette of my back. Bullet comments rolled in. "Wait, is this how the plot goes? I remember the top student falling for her at first sight. What's going on here? Playing hard to get. Obviously, those two lovebirds will get together again later. But it doesn't matter, our male lead is already awakened, ready to start the Sigma Truman storyline. Bullshit. You're the one playing hard to get." I spat in disgust, left the school gate, and climbed into my Maybach to head home. Chapter 3. Later, I found out that the girl who confessed to me was named Willow, and the man who left in disappointment was named George. The two of them had been childhood sweethearts, and everyone in their class thought they had long been a couple. Then she pulled a stunt like this on me. Now the whole school was gossiping how childhood love couldn't compete with a love that fell from the sky. How the heartless woman was dreaming of marrying into a wealthy family. And me, I was the heartless homewrecker, the shameless third party everyone wanted to spit on. TCH. So it's my fault for being rich now. And even though I had rejected Willow so clearly that day, she still didn't give up. Every morning, rain or shine, she brought me a loving breakfast. Ridiculous. I didn't need it at all. I always had a nutritious breakfast made by the housekeeper before coming to school. After catching her red-handed one more time, I called her out into the hallway, my face cold as I handed the stuff back to her. I said. Classmate Willow, let me make this perfectly clear again. I don't know you. I have no intention of knowing you, and I want you to stop bothering me. It's completely meaningless. Also, we're in our senior year of high school. The most important thing right now is our grades and our future. I don't have the time to play these attention-seeking games with you every day. I hope you stop immediately. I enunciated every word, my tone formal and precise. Willow brushed her hair back, her movements lazy yet flirtatious. She gave a soft laugh and said, Makoto, stop pretending. I know you like me, and to tell you the truth, I'm reborn. I have the ability to foresee the future, she said. In this era, choices and environment are far more important than hard work. Studying hard is meaningless. In my last life, I studied like crazy, got into a prestigious university, but so what? In the workplace, gender discrimination is everywhere. Being a woman isn't just a gender, it's a disadvantage. To protect my rights, I still ended up quitting my job. Now that the heavens have given me another chance, I know exactly how the future will unfold. Even if you don't study, as long as you follow what I say, you can make a fortune and stand above everyone else. I was speechless. Where did she get the face to try and guide me? Bullet comments popped up. This shameless woman actually dares to talk. The job posting clearly stated frequent business trips and heavy physical work, recommended for men. Before joining, she complained about why it was recommended for men. After joining, she asked why she had to go on business trips and claimed physical work should only be for men. Later she quit, then forced George to give her all his savings to open a store. She let a friend talk her into opening a women-only gym, which went bankrupt in months. Then she went clubbing at night, got drunk, and got into a car accident that left her disabled. She had always played the single girl persona online, but the moment she was injured and feared George would leave her, she immediately posted a video to pressure him into marriage. And George, he worked during the day to pay off debts, and at night came home to care for her when she couldn't even take care of herself. Just thinking about it makes you feel bad for him. Another comment replied, exactly. George's entire life was ruined by this bitch. Once again, I was left in speechless outrage. George in his past life, what a top-tier simp. Rare enough to be displayed in a national museum. But, I lifted my eyelids and asked, have you read too many novels? Rebirth. Really? If you're actually reborn, then tell me, which stocks will rise in the next 10 years? Which industries will be mainstream? Willow's eyes lit up with hope, and she excitedly named several companies that hadn't even gone public yet. I memorized them, then looked at her regretfully. I said, even if you tell me, I still can't confirm you're actually reborn. Anyone can make up stuff. The most important thing is, I don't like you right now. I just want to study. I don't want to date. So stop bothering me from now on. Kidding me? We rich second gens have enormous academic pressure. Okay. Especially since I'm not an only child, the air fight in my family is pure blood and storm. I don't have time to waste on anyone. So, ignoring the girl's urgent attempts to stop me, I walked back into the classroom with a stride that recognized no kin, perfectly hitting the moment the bell rang, and sat down with a domineering air that radiated the authority of an emperor. Chapter 4. A few days later, I came into contact with George. We both entered the national competition selection. It's an extremely prestigious contest with only one slot, and everyone was determined to win it. I was no exception. This time, the choice was between me and George. To ensure fairness, the school had us compete in a one-on-one selection. Winner gets the slot. When I got a closer look at George, I realized he was the type who seemed honest and introverted at first glance, but his eyes were sharp with determination. In those bright eyes, there was no trace of worldly desire, only the absolute will to succeed. Looks like the love brain had been completely carved out of him. Good, but I wouldn't give in easily either. May the best man win. When the results came out, I happily ran to check them, only to find that my name wasn't there. Of course I was disappointed. I'd prepared for this for a long time. Then bullet comments flashed across my vision. Here we go again, another round of torturing the male lead. Can't this bitch stay away from him? I looked up and saw Willow walking straight toward George, speaking in a saccharine voice. George, give up this competition spot. Okay, Makoto has been preparing for it for a long time. You can still get into a great school even without this contest. Please don't fight him for it. Alright. The crowd collectively sucked in a breath. Bullet comments scrolled by. Unbelievable, the helpless frustration of not being able to reach through the screen to slap her. I was speechless. What's that supposed to mean? That without this contest, I couldn't get into a good university. Forget the comments, even I wanted to slap her. George's anger flared instantly. He gritted his teeth and shot back. Makoto's been preparing for a long time, but so have I. The school set the rules. How can I just give it up? Willow's eyes were full of reproach. She said unhappily, George, why are you being so petty? Losing this slot won't hurt you. In our last life, you still got into your dream university, didn't you? I'm begging you. Okay. The tone was so aggravating it gave me chills. George's voice was firm. I earned this spot on my own. Why should I give it up? The next second. Exactly. Why should he give it up? I clapped my hands and strolled over to stand beside George, facing Willow. Clicking my tongue twice in disdain, I said, "Hey, classmate, could you stop ruining my reputation? Makoto, lost fair and square. If you say stuff like that, people will think I'm incapable and need a woman to trade favors for me. If you're really that bored, how about you do a few more sets of practice tests for the 5-year Gaokao, 3-year mock exams? If that's too much, you can grab a bucket and wipe the dust off the notice board. Looks like it needs it. You'd be perfect for the job." The surrounding students burst into laughter. George stared at me in surprise. "Heh, now that's what I call a proper moment to flex." I gave him a calm smile. Willow's face turned ugly. "Makoto, I didn't mean anything else. I just wanted to help you. I know you." "Stop. Just stop." I raised my hand, palm out, cutting her off sharply. "Don't disgust me. Thanks. I don't need your help. If you really want what's best for me, then don't meddle in my business, and stay far away from me. Distance from idiots is what makes me happy. Got it?" Bullet comments scrolled in. Wait, what's going on with Makoto? Why's he helping the male lead scold the female lead? Isn't he supposed to pressure George to give up the slot and then mock him after winning? Yeah, I remember that was the plot too. Wasn't Makoto into Willow? Why's he cursing her out? Did someone rewrite the script? But hey, you can't deny Makoto's roasting is satisfying. If only I had that kind of mouth. I suspected these commenters were reading a pirated version. Since when did I ever like Willow? No need to smear me this badly. Willow's face went from red to white as she bit her lip. Unable to speak, I turned to George and lightly patted his shoulder. "Don't listen to her nonsense. You're really good. Congratulations, you beat me. I'm sure you'll do great in the competition." George was surprised I would say something like that, but a moment later, he smiled in relief and gave a small nod. The bell rang, and the crowd slowly dispersed. We didn't linger either, each heading back to our own classrooms. Willow stood frozen in place, her lips pressed tight, watching me walk away. Chapter 5. George really made everyone proud. He placed impressively in the national competition. The whole school, teachers and students alike, were happy for him. Everyone except Willow, who looked utterly unimpressed. After school, I was about half an hour later than usual because I had stayed to finish a tough problem. That's when I saw her cornering George by the hallway wall. With an air of superiority, Willow said, "George, we've already been through this mistake. Don't make the same one twice. You're showing off just to make your presence known to me, but it's pointless. If we could start over, we both should have our own choices." I was speechless. How should I put it? Right now, I was basically the human embodiment of the confused black guy meme. George replied with a blank face. "This is my choice. I'm not chasing after you. Whoever you like in this lifetime. That's none of my business. I just want to live my own life." Now that's what a normal person would say, but Willow clearly had her own interpretation. She gave a cold snort. "If you're living your own life, why do you have to keep walking in front of me? Top of the class, first place in competitions, teachers praising you in class every day, and then assigning you to sit next to me to tutor me one-on-one. Don't tell me you didn't ask for that yourself. You're always like this. Using these ways I can't stand to tie me down." George let out a laugh of disbelief. "Have you considered the possibility that the teacher simply couldn't stand seeing your grades drop so badly, and so asked the top student in the whole school to pull you up?" Impossible. Willow was certain. "Stop lying. To get close to me, you'd do anything." Bullet comments in my head flew by at high speed, filled with censored curse words. Damn it, I couldn't take this anymore. I swung my arms, my jacket hem flaring out, like a god descending from the heavens, halo included, ready to save this poor guy entangled with a manipulative coquette. "George, your homeroom teacher wants you in the office," I called out. "Are you on cleanup duty today? Do you need me to help you take out the trash?" My eyes flicked toward Willow. From the moment I walked over, Willow had already stepped back a good distance, looking uneasy, afraid I might get the wrong idea. George looked at me with relief. "I'll go right now," he said. "As for the rest, no need until it's completely turned into waste. Trash never stays quietly in the bin. If you clean it up now, you'll only get your hands dirty." He gave me a faint smile before leaving the hallway, effortlessly cool. I brushed the dust from my clothes and was about to leave when Willow hurried over to block me. "Makoto, don't misunderstand," she said in a trembling voice. "There's really nothing between me and George. I was just telling him to stop bothering me. He's like me since we were kids. Making him give up will take time. Makoto, please don't doubt me. I've never been interested in him. The one I've always liked is you." I almost gagged. This woman, the more you argue with her, the more she twists things. So I just gave her a fake, insincere smile, nodded in the most perfunctory way possible, then turned and walked off, still exuding coolness in profile. And so I headed north, away from the hallway where she stood. Chapter 6. The final year of high school passed quickly. I still studied day and night, with the top spot in the school constantly switching back and forth between me and George. Willow, on the other hand, racked her brains, relentlessly pursuing me, sometimes coaxing, sometimes pressuring, but by then, I had already trained myself into a monk-like state of immunity to feminine charms. No matter how she tried to tempt or cling to me, I could look right through her, my resolve as steady as a Buddha's, which is why, by the time the college entrance exams ended, I hadn't exchanged more than 20 words with her. When the exam results came out, I was quite satisfied. George took first place, I was second. Both of us could attend top universities in the country. Before leaving for another city, Willow tried every trick she could think of to get to me, but once outside of school, our statuses were worlds apart. Young Master Ito of a wealthy family was not someone you could just meet on a whim. Without any distractions, I smoothly entered university. In the blink of an eye, 6 years passed. During those 6 years, I occasionally got updates about George and Willow through the bullet comments flying across my internal stream of gossip. For example, George had chosen biomedical science as his major, stayed first in his department year after year, and was already regarded as a national-level talent at a young age. He also sealed his engagement with the daughter of the prestigious Sioux family with a single romantic kiss. As for Willow, although she only got into a junior college, she relied on her memories from her previous life to seize the benefits of the times and had managed to build up some personal wealth. Oh, and she found herself a stand-in for me. The two of them stuck together like glue every day, publicly affectionate to the point of making me lose my appetite for a few grains of rice. Recently, I received an invitation to our high school reunion. The bullet comments exploded. One read, "Here it comes. The high-energy face-slapping scene is finally here. Willow still thinks George is going to the reunion to get back together with her. I've got my popcorn ready. Time to watch that manipulative guy and pretentious coquette dig their own graves." Another replied, "Except George is about to get humiliated again. In front of so many classmates. That's going to be brutal." And another chimed in, "The worse the humiliation, the sweeter the reversal. I've been following this for so long just for this climax." Classic scene incoming, the rich heiress boldly protecting her men. Call me a shameless gossip dog, but I love it. Willow and Makoto are about to be ruined. Ha ha ha. Then someone else countered, "Don't get your hopes up too much, things have been rewritten. Makoto Ito never got together with Willow, and he's already inherited the Ito family business." A bullet comment asked, Then is he still going to the reunion?" "Of course. Absolutely. At a feel-good scene. I just can't get into it without myself in it." Chapter 7. I immediately told my assistant to book me a flight back to City B. On the day of the reunion, I put on a custom-tailored suit, strapped on a $1 million watch, and stepped into a stretch luxury car. Standing anywhere like that, I was the very definition of a domineering CEO. On the way to the reunion, the bullet comments started broadcasting the situation at the scene. One read, "Where does Willow get the audacity? Our George was actually heading to the next hall for a medical conference and only walked into the reunion by mistake, but she somehow thought he came crawling back to reconcile with her. What a piece of work." Someone else said, "See, she's mad again. The male lead just passed by without acknowledging her, and now she's losing her cool." Another comment read, "This stand-in is even dumber than Makoto. Whatever Willow says, he believes instantly, and now he wants to stand up for her. Does he even use his brain? With Willow's personality, if George had ever actually harassed her, would she have let him off? He's nothing more than a simp hanging around her, but he really thinks he's something special. A guy living off a woman has no right to call George useless." And the others, all opportunistic snobs, joining in to humiliate George. Another bullet comment popped up. "Funniest part, he accused George of wearing a fake watch just to show off. Joke's on him. That watch came straight from Christie's auction." The next one followed. "He's done for. That idiot yanked the watch off and stomped on it. He's going to lose everything paying for it." I glanced at the time. Mistake on my part. Why did they all arrive early? I still had 10 minutes to go. "George, hang in there, don't let them push you to the breaking point." Bullet comments kept rolling. The male lead's 2 punches were solid. That's how it should be, equality for all. The stand-in's jaw almost got dislocated. Damn, can that disgusting pair just exit the stage early and eat their boxed lunch? And those people, holding George down by the shoulders so the stand-in could slap him. Disgusting. And after slapping him, they want George to apologize. Apologize my ass. I'm freaking out. Where's Anna? Your husband's about to crack under the pressure. I bang strode with a vigorous, wind-swept pace straight to the banquet hall. Just before I entered the banquet hall, I heard a loud, mocking voice. "So your wife is Anna? George, at least make your lies believable. Anna Sue is the Sioux family's heiress. How could she possibly be interested in trash like you? If she's really your wife, then I'm your dad. Don't move." Stay put, Willow. Today I'm going to get you the justice you deserve. Willow gave a cold snort. George, we did have something in the past. As long as you apologize to me, kneel down and say you won't dare do it again, I'll let this go. I've already given you a way out, don't be ungrateful. The next second, the main doors slammed open. I'd like to see who dares lay another finger on my brother. I turned to the doorway. I stood there, halo above my head, sound system beneath my feet, blinding everyone in the room except George as I made my dazzling entrance. Chapter 8. Bullet comments flew in. Oh damn, why is it Makoto who came? Wait, is this BGM supposed to be this hype? It's over, he actually pulled it off. This entrance is ridiculously flashy. Did they swap the lead actor for this scene? Head held high, I strode forward under everyone's gaze, walking steadily right up to them. George was surrounded in the middle, collapsed on the floor, one side of his face bright red. Clearly, he'd just been slapped. Around us, people whispered, probably wondering why I was here. I first pulled George up and shielded him behind me, then gave the crowd a cold glance. With a smile, I said, for those who know, this might look like a class reunion. For those who don't, it's like watching a pack of strays fighting over scraps. A bunch of people barking like rabid dogs. Don't you all have anything better to do? After 2 years running the Ito group, my name carried quite a bit of weight in the outside world. This bunch of former classmates, people I'd barely interacted with back then, didn't dare cross me. They all shrank back, silent. I turned my gaze to Willow. The men standing in front of her, the so-called stand-in, looked distinctly sour upon seeing me. I scanned him from head to toe. Aside from his bright green-dyed hair, I couldn't find any resemblance to me at all. This is my stand-in. I felt personally insulted. The moment Willow saw me, she froze in place. Then, putting on a faux shy act, she stepped closer, her eyes tilting in what she thought was a seductive look, and asked softly, Makoto, did you come here for me? Her gaze flicked to my cufflinks, and a spark of excitement lit up her eyes. With a trembling voice, she said, I knew it, Makoto. You've never forgotten me. Even your cufflinks are engraved with the initials of my name. I was speechless. I looked down at the cufflinks with a mix of disbelief and irritation. They were part of my collection, with a design engraved with the letters WL. I said, how about this, you go to our hospital and ask if they can do a detox surgery. If they can, tell them the abscess between your 2 shoulders is too big and needs to be drained. She frowned. What do you mean? I replied. I mean you're brainless. You even got the order wrong. Unbelievable. Listen up. Yes, these are initials, but they're not yours. They're the name of my dog I've had for 10 years, Lucky Wolf. Willow was stunned. Bullet comments popped up. What? It's the initials of a dog's name. So when Makoto said in his previous life during that entrepreneur interview that it was the initials of a name he remembered, and that he regretted they couldn't be together, he was talking about his dog, meaning Makoto never had feelings for Willow, the gold digger, at all. Damn, that's a colossal misunderstanding. Willow convinced herself Makoto liked her because of that one line, pure delusion. Come to think of it, in the previous life Makoto probably meant the dog had already passed away, so he regretted not being able to stay together. No wonder Makoto escaped the original storyline. He never liked Willow to begin with. But it's fine. The manipulative coquette is still digging her own grave. The essence of a feel-good revenge story hasn't changed. Chapter 9. You call me shameless. Willow, the truly shameless one here is you. George stepped out from behind me, his voice laced with icy sarcasm. He spoke slowly, enunciating every word. You people have verbally attacked me, damaged my property, and even laid hands on me. This banquet hall has surveillance cameras. I will hold you legally accountable, so be prepared to compensate. Ha ha ha. Compensation. Don't make me laugh. The so-called stand-in, my supposed look-alike, suddenly regained his swagger when George spoke. He immediately moved to block Willow behind him and said, Look at you, acting all tough. That busted fake watch of yours, do you even know how much it would be worth if it were real? Can't answer. Right. Let me tell you, if it were real, it would cost tens of millions. Could someone like you ever afford that? And you want compensation? How about I give you $20 and call it a day? I bent down, picked up the damaged watch, and examined it. It really was a rare limited edition. Sigh, wild boars can't tell fine grain. I handed the watch back to George for safekeeping. But before I could say anything, the man picked up a suit jacket from the floor. And this jacket too, he sneered. I get that men like to brag, but if you're going to wear fakes, at least make it less obvious. Who doesn't recognize this brand? But I've never even seen this model, might as well stamp fake right across it. Your skin must be thicker than a wall, I'm embarrassed for you. He then tossed the jacket back to the ground and stomped on it twice. The cut and style of the jacket were indeed unfamiliar to me, but I knew one thing existed, private tailoring. I cleared my throat and pointed to the jacket. Excuse me, there's nothing wrong with this suit. Its value is about. I held up 6 fingers. 60,000. Someone guessed. I shook my head. Add 2 more zeros. A chorus of sharp intakes of breath followed. Murmurs spread through the crowd. No way. 6 million. Could Makoto be mistaken? Even if he's a rich second generation, he's not necessarily an expert. He could be wrong. The men refused to believe it. His neck stiff with defiance. Him? Wearing a 6 million suit. Who's he trying to fool? If it's real, I'll get on my knees, kowtow 3 times, and call him dad. This level of intelligence, truly a gift to wish fulfillment novels. Aside from the manipulative coquette, you always need a brainless male side character to push the plot forward, whether or not they actually have a grudge with the male lead. I frowned. Hold on, I've been meaning to ask. Sorry, but who exactly are you? Isn't this our class reunion? I don't recall you being in our class. The men threw an arm around Willow's shoulders and grinned. Me, I'm Willow's boyfriend. But Willow immediately pushed him away in distaste, as if trying to avoid suspicion in front of me. His smile froze, the cracks in his composure showing. I turned to George. Give them the figures for what they've damaged. Let them have a number in mind. Otherwise, I'm afraid they'll faint from the shock later. George nodded calmly and spoke unhurriedly. The watch you smashed was bought at a Christie's auction for 30 million. The suit you stomped on is a handcrafted private custom piece worth 6.5 million. As for the physical assault, I will sue, and you will need to apologize. I took a step forward, radiating dominance like a king wearing his crown. I said, "You apologize." I pointed downward at the men. After a second's pause, I turned my finger toward the woman. "You apologize and pay up. I doubt this useless man can afford it, but maybe if you scrape together everything you've got, you might manage. As for the rest of you," I swept my gaze around the room like an emperor surveying his court. "If you've spoken out of turn, line up and apologize. If you've kept quiet, stay that way, and remember this truth." I looked at them as if they were trash. When you do wrong, you pay the price. The bullet comments went wild. Holy crap, first time I've seen a male side character act this badass. Boss, forget pointing at them, point at me. I'll gladly be your loyal henchman for life. That's more like it. Chapter 10. Under my intimidation. A few classmates I vaguely recognized hesitated for a moment before deciding to step forward and apologize to George. They admitted they had said inappropriate things earlier and asked for his forgiveness. I let my gaze sweep over each of their faces, finally landing on Willow. "And you?" I asked. Willow stayed silent for a while, then suddenly burst out laughing. With a cold snort, she said, "Makoto, don't let George fool you. I've been with him long enough to know exactly what he's worth. Him getting rich, that'd be a miracle." Someone whispered, "Exactly. He even bragged earlier that his wife is the Sue family's heiress." "Yeah, right." Willow narrowed her eyes at George. "You, a wife? George, everyone knows you've been madly in love with me for years. You even chased me to this reunion. Who else would you ever like besides me?" She rolled her eyes. "Stop lying. This wife you talk about is just a ploy to make me jealous, hoping I'll take you back." Damn it, my fists itched. I turned to George, genuinely baffled. "Were you blind before? How could you have liked someone like this?" Truly, the script had set him up. George gave a self-mocking smile. "You're right. I'd love to go back in time and slap myself twice for getting involved with such a shameless idiot. I really must have been blind." "Willow, how many times do I have to say it before you understand? I don't have the slightest feeling for you. Stop acting like a broken record, telling everyone I'm chasing you. I'll say it one more time. I'm married and have my own family." He smirked. "If anything, you're the one who runs up to me every time you see me, like some sticky parasite that I can't shake off. Could it be you're the one who still has feelings for me, stirring up trouble just to get my attention?" Willow's face flushed bright red. Biting her lip, she said, "Me, still have feelings for you? You must be delusional. The only one in my heart is Makoto, and anyone else was just a passing fling." The stand-in froze on the spot, staring at her in disbelief. As for me, I was thoroughly disgusted. Still barking, she continued, "And you think saying you're married makes it true? Ask anyone here, who believes you. If you're really married, then tell us, who's your wife?" "I've said it before," George replied impatiently. "My wife is Anna." As if she had just heard the world's funniest joke, Willow laughed so hard she could barely breathe. Her exaggerated laughter filled the entire hall. "You still won't admit defeat, huh, George?" She rolled her eyes again. "If your wife is Anna, then call her here. If she really shows up, we'll kneel down and kowtow to you in apology, and we'll pay you double for everything we damaged. But if you can't," she spun in place once, tilting her head with a look of mockery, "then you'll crawl from here to the door and bark like a dog a few times. If I'm pleased, I won't hold it against you for lying to everyone. After all, I made the same request of you in our last life." Bullet comments streamed past. "This vile woman has some nerve. Last time she ran a gym into the ground, lost all of George's savings, and even wanted him to mortgage his house. When he refused, she got down on her knees with tears in her eyes. trying to guilt-trip him. It's not like George asked her to kneel, a manipulative coquette who blames everyone else and never reflects on herself. George ignored her. Willow gave a cold snort and turned to me. Makoto, you see, he's just a fraud. Remember what I told you? I know future events. If I become your supportive wife, the Ito group will rise to the top. Not like George, who will spend his life as a worthless liar. I'd had enough. My tolerance for idiots had hit its limit. I was just about to slap her when a contemptuous female voice came from outside the door. Who says my husband is worthless? Chapter 11. The banquet hall doors swung open, and a beam of golden light spilled in. 2 rows of black-suited bodyguards filed in, lining up neatly on either side of the doorway. Walking in, bathed in the golden glow, was a woman in a custom haute couture evening gown. She moved as if time itself had slowed by half, with BGM swirling in perfect 360-degree surround sound. At this moment, the archetypal wish-fulfillment novel female lead entrance had taken form in reality. Bullet comments flew past. It's Anna. Anna's here. The Sue family heiress. Anna Sue. God. I love this kind of dog blood face-slapping scene. Here comes the climax. Time for the trashy ones to get what they deserve. I was annoyed. Damn it. She was showing off. Why was her entrance flashier than mine? Move aside and let me have 2 more episodes to myself. After a moment of awkward silence, whispers began to spread. It really is Anna. I've seen her in the news. She's actually George's wife. I'm screwed. I just called him a loser daydreaming about marrying her. I already apologized. What if George still holds a grudge? Willow had gone utterly silent, staring wide-eyed, her words caught in her throat, her feet rooted to the floor. Anna walked through the crowd and into George's arms, leaning on him like a delicate bird. Honey, weren't you supposed to be at the academic conference? What are you doing in this doghouse? Damn it, insult them all you want, but don't lump me in with them. Arms crossed, I said irritably. You sure took your time. Any later, and I'd have solved everything already. Anna blinked. Then George patted her shoulder and said, Makoto, a friend of mine. Willow, dazed, muttered, George, you're really married? How? How could this be? Haven't you always loved me? Anna's gaze rose to George's injured face, her expression instantly hardening. She swept her eyes across the room and demanded through gritted teeth, Who hit my husband? The crowd collectively took a giant step back, leaving Willow and the stand-in stranded in the center, their faces as pale as if they'd seen a ghost. Well, that made things obvious. No need for further proof. The Sue family's motto, debts will be repaid, was well known to the outside world. The stand-in was shaking so hard he could barely stand. Forcing an awkward laugh, he stammered, No, I didn't mean to. It was him who threw the first punch, and we just. Anna ignored him entirely and called out, Guards. Several massive bodyguards advanced like a dark tide, their presence suffocating. The stand-in's knees gave out, and he collapsed to the floor. He tugged desperately at Willow's sleeve, but she just stood there, staring blankly at George without moving. With no help from her, he turned to George, pleading, George, I was wrong, I really was. I didn't mean it. I'll kowtow. I'll apologize. Whatever you want. Please, don't lower yourself to my level. His head hit the floor with loud, desperate thuds, tears streaming down his face, but Anna waved a dismissive hand. Take him out and deal with him. Whichever hand hit my husband, break it. The men went wild, struggling like a madman, but no matter how strong he was, there was no way he could resist the trained guards. In less than 2 minutes, he was dragged out, his agonized screams fading into the distance. So this was the infamous male side character gets his hand crippled scene. Thinking about how the bullet comment said it was originally supposed to be me, I suddenly felt my own hand start to ache. Chapter 12. 1 down, 1 to go. Enjoying the show, I tilted my chin toward Willow. So, wasn't there someone who said that if Anna showed up, they'd kneel down and apologize, and pay double for the damages? Willow's face instantly turned white. Only now did Anna notice the trampled suit and the smashed watch on the floor. Her gaze lingered for a moment, cold enough to pierce through bone. After a brief pause, Willow put on an innocent expression, tilting her head and clapping lightly. She said, Anna, this is all a misunderstanding. It was that jerk earlier, he's the one who acted lawlessly and broke these things. Anna, how about this? Do you like this handbag? She handed over her bag. I also run a luxury store. I'm sure you've heard of our brand. If you like, you can drop by anytime, and whatever catches your eye, you can pick anything you want. But the very next second, Anna took the bag from her hands and, without hesitation, tossed it to the floor, grinding it under her heel with open disdain. Rolling her eyes, she said, Never heard of such a third-rate brand. Stop talking nonsense. You have 2 choices. 1, as you just said, pay double compensation. 2, I send you to prison. Your choice. Willow stared at the bag under Anna's heel, her eyelids twitching with rage, as if Anna were stomping on her dignity itself. Biting her lip hard, she trembled as she said, Anna, don't go too far. Fine, today's my bad luck, I admit it. It's just money, I'll pay. Don't get too full of yourselves, I can succeed on my own, and when that day comes, you'll all be begging me. Oh, for crying out loud, still can't read the room, spouting such shameless nonsense. This brain is pure pork, I replied at an unhurried pace. The trajectory of the world is never fixed. Ever heard of the butterfly effect? Maybe you know which company is worth investing in, or which stock will soar, but what if I intervene? A promising company gets acquired by me, changes its name before going public. That stock you thought would skyrocket suddenly tanks because the Ito Group, your competitor, has released a superior product. Could you foresee that? Pathetic. Even if she had lived twice, she might make a little quick money with her so-called foreknowledge, but without the ability to read the market, she'd just be another wave crashing and dying on the shore. Willow was struck speechless. Clearly, she couldn't come up with a retort, left stewing in her own frustration like a freshly boiled spicy lobster. Anna tucked her hair neatly behind her ear and spoke slowly. Willow, right, enough talk. If you don't pay up within 30 minutes, the only door you'll be seeing is the one to the police station. My patience is short, so I suggest you hurry. Otherwise, when I change my mind, the price you pay won't just be money. Chapter 13. Willow's face flushed red as she dialed a number, instructing her assistant to fetch the money, her tone still arrogant as she told Anna to wait. But moments later, she received another call. Her expression shifted to shock. What do you mean there's not enough money? How could there not be enough? Aren't there still tens of millions in the account? All spent. Bullet comments exploded. I'm dying. She's seriously this brain dead. Did she think money grows by itself? Last month, she and her stand-in boyfriend bought a yacht, a mansion, and splurged on luxury goods. No wonder it's almost gone. Exactly. Women like this have no concept of money. They never think about whether something is worth it. They just buy on impulse, thinking the money will never run out. Around them, old classmates whispered among themselves, what's going on? Doesn't Willow post every day about traveling and showing off her wealth? Maybe she's been lying to us this whole time, just a gold digger. But she's dressed pretty expensively right now. You don't know. A lot of so-called socialites these days rent clothes and take turns wearing them. Even co-rent a luxury car. The gossip was loud enough for Willow to hear clearly. Her chest heaved with rising anger. For someone like her, vanity was everything. No matter how extreme the method, she would try to salvage her image in front of others. She glanced at George, but George was sitting calmly on a stool while Anna knelt beside him, gently wiping the injury on his face with a handkerchief. The picture of devoted affection, without a single glance spared for Willow. As for me, in her mind, I was the flawless, perfect man. Naturally, she wouldn't stoop to ask me for money in this setting either. She stomped her foot, shoved through the onlookers, and went to the corner to make another call. It went on for quite a while. By the end, her temper had hit its peak. She screamed into the phone, ordering the other person to do as she said. Before hanging up in fury, George spoke calmly. It's been a long day. Let's go home. Anna nodded, sweeping the room with a look that dripped with contempt. In that moment, silence spoke louder than words. Every classmate lowered their head like a quail, not daring to make a sound. Hooking her arm through George's, Anna instructed her men. The others can leave or stay. I don't care. But her, she pointed at Willow standing by the wall. She doesn't leave until the money arrives. If it's not here in 20 minutes, take her to the old estate's basement. The bodyguards responded in unison, their formation looking exactly like a mafia meeting. I stretched my legs a bit. Standing around had made them stiff, but the most important matter hadn't even begun yet. As Anna and George headed toward the door, I strode after them, raising a hand to firmly block their way. Don't be in such a hurry to leave, I said. Ito Group, Makoto Ito, the lounge next door, let's talk. Chapter 14. Yes, I had two purposes for coming here. First, to rescue the unlucky male lead and humiliate the manipulative coquette. Second, to build a bridge to the Su family. The Ito Group, despite its rapid rise and respectable reputation in the industry, was still a step behind the Su family in terms of influence. In the lounge, a waiter brought in a pot of fine tea. Pouring a cup for each of us, Anna asked. You're talking about cooperation. I set down my cup and immediately pulled out a project proposal I had prepared long ago. Leaning forward with a smile, I said, yes, our group is currently developing a breakthrough drug for Alzheimer's disease, and Mr. Wang's expertise is formidable. If we work together, our efforts would be twice as effective for half the effort. If this drug is successfully developed, it will be a milestone in the medical field. All the detailed plans are in this proposal. You can take a look. Thanks to the bullet comments, I already knew about George's future achievements in medicine. Coincidentally, his aspirations matched one of my own long-standing goals. My grandfather had passed away from Alzheimer's disease. If I had the power, I never wanted anyone else to experience the pain of watching a loved one forget them. I had come fully prepared and with genuine sincerity. George read carefully, page by page, from start to finish. I didn't rush him, waiting patiently. I had complete confidence in myself, in the Ito group, and in this project. After a long moment, George closed the proposal and smiled at me. Mr. Ito, I agree to this cooperation. I kept my composure, smiling calmly, even though inside I was overjoyed, steadfast on the outside. Like a seasoned veteran, Anna said. Since my husband has agreed, the Su family will have no objections. George smiled. Congratulations, you've found yourself a reliable partner. Immediately, I pulled out another prepared letter of intent from my bag and handed him a pen. Then, let's have a pleasant cooperation, I said. Before coming to the reunion, I had prepared every last detail for this project. Yes, I am just that thorough, always 3 steps ahead, with no gaps in my plan. Cannon fodder male side character, not me. I am the protagonist of my own story. Chapter 15. Once the agreement was signed, we parted ways. Later, I heard that at the very last moment before being taken to the Su family's old estate basement, Willow managed to scrape together the money. Only then was she released without losing any limbs. But within just a few months, her company couldn't even pay its employees' salaries. While all the staff were demanding their wages, Willow still wore that lofty, condescending face, saying things like, "You should be grateful, I've been supporting you all this time. What's wrong with being paid a few months late?" One employee finally had enough and filed a real name report accusing her of embezzling public funds. I wasn't surprised in the slightest. After all, the bullet comments had spoiled this for me long ago. This time, Willow panicked. Embezzlement wasn't something she could talk her way out of. This was prison time. She scrambled to borrow money from anyone she could, but no one was willing to lend. In her desperation, she went to George. Unsurprisingly, she didn't even get to see his face. In her second wave of desperation, she came to find me. Unfortunately for her, I was busy working with George on our new drug research, so again, she didn't see me. In the pouring rain, she ended up drenched, looking like a drowned rat. According to the bullet comments, she then decided to flee. But if she could really escape, this wouldn't be a wish fulfillment novel. With bad weather and her car speeding, Willow's vehicle crashed head-on into an oncoming oil tanker. The entire front of her car was smashed to pieces. Everything overlapped perfectly with the fatal accident from her previous life. In this life, she still didn't escape the fate of being paralyzed from the waist down and confined to a wheelchair. Only this time, it came 15 years earlier, and in this lifetime, there was no responsible, dutiful husband willing to care for her without complaint. What awaited her instead were the spittle and condemnation of others, and a long, endless night behind prison walls. Chapter 16. For a long time afterward, I never saw another bullet comment. It wasn't until 4 years later that those words began to scroll across my vision again. The manipulative coquette finally couldn't handle the torment in prison, went insane and killed herself. Hilarious. What was she thinking? Saying that if she could be reborn once, she could be reborn twice. Did she think it was like buying cabbage? Others chimed in. Exactly. Facing death, she suddenly remembers how good George was to her and decides she wants to make it up to him in the next life. No way. Go to hell alone. And another. No. She didn't come to her senses. She just regretted dumping a simp who catered to her every whim. No matter how many times she's reborn, selfish people stay selfish. I paused for only a moment before pretending I hadn't seen anything, continuing to listen to my subordinates' reports. Over the years, our medical research collaboration with the Su family had made major breakthroughs. Beyond that, we had also partnered on several other projects. Under my leadership, the Ito group had grown larger and stronger by the day. My parents couldn't stop smiling, grateful they had passed the company to me, and I had gradually become one of the most powerful tycoons, living a life even more exhilarating than a wish fulfillment novel. Take now, for example, standing before me were 18 stunning models, each with a figure to kill for. Beside me sat a delicate, porcelain-skinned beauty, so fresh she could be mistaken for water itself. She picked up a peeled grape, holding it to my lips. "Baby, open up," she cooed. The next second, I pulled her into my arms with a smile, brushing my fingers against her lips. "Hey, don't call me baby." Her eyes dropped shyly. "Then, what should I call you?" she asked. With a slight smile, I crossed my legs, waved my hand grandly, and said, "Call me the righteous villain. I must be the most pitiful man on earth." After breaking up with my girlfriend, I sit in the car with my wife, not daring to show the slightest emotion. Back when I was dating, I was scared my parents would find out. Now that I'm dating again, I'm scared my wife will find out. A life full of regrets. Chapter 1. Even though Willow and I are legally married, we only ever visit each other's families once a year, when our parents have birthdays. Today was my father's birthday. While waiting in the car for Willow, I had just finished a phone call that ended badly, but the moment I saw her, I pushed my emotions down and helped her fasten her seatbelt. Since we were visiting my parents, I didn't want them to worry if things between us seemed tense. So, I tried starting small talk a few times, attempting to lighten the mood, but Willow just kept giving me the cold shoulder, pretending not to hear a word I said. Eventually, I lost patience and gave up trying. My girlfriend had just dumped me over the phone earlier, so I was already feeling low, and now Willow's attitude made it worse. Several times, I was on the verge of tears when emotions surged, but in the end, I held it all back. When a little pearl accidentally slipped out, I just quietly turned my head and wiped it away in secret. Just as I was wallowing in misery, Willow's phone rang. Her boyfriend was calling. She answered without hesitation. Right in front of me, I could hear his hoarse, phlegm-choked voice on speaker. "Babe, I had too much to drink earlier. Think I got a concussion from banging my head. Can you come over?" Willow frowned, her voice turning cold. "I've got something going on. Call an ambulance," he begged. "Please, babe, just come see me for a minute. Yesterday was my fault. I was a jerk. It was an accident. I swear, I won't do it again. Please give me another chance." His voice cracked and got more desperate by the second. Willow stayed unmoved. Then she glanced at me, maybe realizing I was eavesdropping. I quickly looked out the window, pretending not to hear, but then I heard her say, "Wait for me downstairs." She hung up, then turned to me and said, "Take me to my boyfriend's place." I stared at her, incredulous. "Willow, it's my dad's birthday. Don't you think you're crossing the line?" She replied, "I'll just stop by quickly. There's still time." Then she added, "If you won't take me, just drop me off at the next corner." "I'm not going to your dad's dinner." I clenched my teeth and laughed coldly, but said nothing more. There was no point. Once she made up her mind, nothing I said could change it, but it was fine, as long as she didn't make a scene in front of our families. I could endure it. I curled my lips into a forced smile and floored the gas pedal straight to her boyfriend's building. When we arrived, I saw him standing there with gauze wrapped around his whole head. He looked so ridiculous, I almost laughed. If I didn't know better, I'd think an ancient pharaoh had just escaped the pyramid. Still, Willow got out of the car and took him to a pharmacy for some band-aids. I sat in silence, watching her gently stick a band-aid on top of his gauze. Then she stood on tiptoe and kissed him. She said, "Don't drink so much again. Okay, you're still young. What if it messes up your health? You're making people worry." Flirting with another man in front of her husband, Willow truly didn't care about me at all. I frowned and asked, "Are you done yet?" I checked my watch and urged her impatiently. Willow didn't answer, but her puppy-eyed boyfriend did. "Sorry for holding you up, Brother Wong." Miss Lu was worried about me, so she came right over when she heard I was hurt. "Please don't blame her." Clearly, he didn't know Willow had answered his call on speaker. I asked, "You know who I am?" He nodded. "I interned at your company before." The kid looked young, probably just out of college, eyes full of clueless optimism. All he could think about was romance and drama, like saying a few sweet words would set me off. I chuckled and replied, "Oh, it's fine." Then I added, trying to teach him a little something. "Listen, kid, if she really cared about you, she wouldn't have dragged her husband along to see you. Bringing your husband to meet your side guy, only Willow could pull that off." After we got back in the car, I asked, "That kid seems decent, young, fit. Why are you dumping him?" In the rearview mirror, I saw Pharaoh still standing there, clearly devastated. Willow rolled her eyes and scoffed. "He wants to propose." Ah, I understood now. The kid had a fetish, really into married women. Too bad Willow, as she liked to claim, was far too clear-headed and independent. That's exactly why she kept a simp like him around. She didn't believe in love, not in general, and certainly not in what we once had. I laughed. "You had me drive you there just so I'd throw a punch at him and give you an excuse to dump him, didn't you?" I gave her a sideways glance but didn't press further. Willow clearly didn't want to continue this topic either. Instead, she asked, "So when are you introducing me to that woman you're seeing?" When I stayed silent, she snorted, "Don't bother denying it. I've known for a while. Bring her out for a cup of tea sometime. You know I won't mind." And she really wouldn't care, but I still couldn't let her find out, because the woman I'm seeing is her best friend. Chapter 2. Willow and I had been together since school uniforms to wedding vows. Our families were well matched in background and social standing, and they were close friends. We used to be the couple everyone envied, until the day I found an open pack of emergency birth control pills in her purse, and that's when I realized she was cheating. It felt like the sky had fallen. I lost it, forced her to break it off with the guy. I even ran that bastard out of City A. But just a few months later, the private investigator told me she was also fooling around with her personal trainer at the gym. When I confronted Willow, she snapped back. George, cut the act. You really think I don't know about the woman you're keeping outside? You think I can't feel it? You've been sick of me for ages. You come home and fall asleep the second you hit the couch, always busy or tired. If you don't care for your wife, why shouldn't someone else? You really think this is a life worth living? Don't tell me you never thought about trying someone new. You do your thing, I'll do mine. As long as we don't divorce, let's just stay out of each other's way. I've never been one for useless arguments. If it can be settled with fists, I won't waste time talking. But divorce? Divorce was never an option. Then she escalated, started bringing men into our home while I was away. The worst blow-up we ever had was when I returned early from a business trip and found her in bed with another man, my bed. Furious, I punched the guy so hard I knocked out 2 of his front teeth. Get out, now, I roared. Willow called me a violent psycho. No woman would ever marry someone like you. She spat. She left with that guy to go to the hospital. Only then did I realize our golden retriever was missing. Turns out when Willow and that man came home, my dog bit him, so the bastard grabbed Orange and threw him off the balcony. I found Orange lying in a pool of blood, body stiff and cold. I called Willow, voice shaking. Willow, we raised Orange together. Are you even human anymore? She just said calmly, you're not short on money, just buy another one. Then she had the audacity to send me a dog breeder's link. That night, I ran into Willow's best friend, Anna, at a bar. Anna was everything Willow wasn't: reserved, gentle, the classic ice queen of our social circle. Driven by spite, I watched Anna politely turn down 13 guys before finishing my drink in one gulp and walking over. I smiled. Anna, what a coincidence. I sat beside her as if it were the most natural thing in the world. She glanced sideways at me. Is it? I don't remember much about that night, only that I woke up the next morning in Anna's home. How did I end up here? I asked. Anna had changed into a plain white dress, apron tied around her waist. She clearly worked out, slim, toned, her silhouette naturally alluring even when just standing there. While chopping ingredients, she said without looking up, last night, you said you wanted to sleep with me. I flushed. My eyes darted away. When she didn't say anything else, I asked, and did I? She looked me dead in the eye and said, you succeeded. I frowned. What do you mean by that? The exact thing you're thinking. Then she placed the breakfast she made in front of me and said, don't know if it's to your taste. Just eat what you can. We didn't say anything else. It wasn't until I was about to leave that Anna asked, what are you planning to do now? I blinked. What do you mean? She pursed her lips and gave me a look like I was just another scumbag. Last night happened. Don't you think you should take responsibility? I thought for a moment before saying seriously, Anna, you know I have a wife. She snapped. Then why did you come after me last night? Divorce her. I'm not going to be your side chick. I rubbed my forehead. That's not something I can do right now, to be honest. I had approached her that night with a purpose, so I didn't bother sugarcoating things. I said, then how about this? Be my girlfriend. Wife is wife. Girlfriend is girlfriend. Separate lanes. Deal. Anna let out a cold laugh and opened the door for me to leave. I figured that was the end of it. But 2 months later, late one night, I got a call from an unknown number. It was Anna. Sounded like she'd been drinking. Voice hazy and soft. George, why won't you divorce her? I put down my book and answered patiently. Because it's not just about me and her. It's about the Wang and Liu families. Anna choked back a sob and asked, then what about me? You came after me first. Don't you owe me something? I said, if you accept my arrangement, I'll take responsibility. The line went silent. I didn't hang up. I waited. Finally, after a long pause, I heard her resigned voice. Okay, I accept. After that, we traveled abroad together. In the neighboring city, we held hands like any normal couple, watched movies like teens on a date. Anna was sweet, always came when I called. She never brought up divorce again, until that one trip, when I got into a car accident. Chapter 3. In my phone's contact list, everyone saved under their real name, except Anna. Her contact name is Girlfriend. She changed it herself one time while playing with my phone, secretly edited it. So after my car accident, the police contacted Anna directly based on that label. At the hospital, a family member had to sign off. I said, call Willow. My parents are too old to be dragged out in the middle of the night. But when I regained consciousness, the first person I saw in the hospital room was my mom. She asked a few worried questions, then stepped out. After she left, I turned to Anna and asked, why did my mom come? Anna was peeling an orange. She said, I called Willow multiple times. She didn't answer. There was no other choice. I had to call Auntie. I should have known. Willow had been cold toward me for a long time. After she started cheating, she barely picked up my calls. The room fell silent again, as drowsiness took over and I began to drift off. Anna finally spoke. George, divorce Willow. My eyes snapped open. Anna was usually quiet, low maintenance. She'd hardly brought up divorce again after that one time. I asked, why bring this up now? Anna finally looked up at me. Only then did I notice how pale and worn out she looked. Her eyes were red. She must have stayed by my side all night and barely rested. Her voice trembled. I don't want to keep being the secret side woman. I want to stand beside you in the open. I'm afraid that if something like this happens again, I won't even have the right to sign for you as next of kin. I'll just be pacing around, helplessly calling your wife again and again. I don't want to lie and say I'm just a friend when your parents ask who I am. But George, we're not friends, and I don't want to be your friend. She broke down crying in front of me. This time, I couldn't bring myself to say no, but I also knew it wouldn't be so easy for Willow and me to divorce. She said, George, make up your mind. Either break up with me, or divorce Willow. Until you decide, I won't bother you again. That day, Anna took care of everything at the hospital. She arranged a caregiver, set up my meals, even put my favorite books at the bedside. But after that, she really didn't show up again. Chapter 4. Every year on my dad's birthday, my mom gives the housekeeper the day off. She rarely cooks herself, but on this day, she always makes a full table of our favorite dishes, just for him. I was chatting with my dad in the tea room. Willow was in the kitchen helping my mom. During dinner, they started reminiscing about the days when Willow and I were still in school. My mom chuckled. You two were secretly dating back then, but both families had already figured it out. You two were the only ones stubborn enough to keep denying it. Thinking back, I couldn't help but sigh. Life really is absurd sometimes. Back then, we were scared of our parents finding out we were in love. Now that we're married, we're scared of our spouses finding out we're in love. A lifetime of regrets. The thought made me laugh quietly to myself. After dinner, I went out with my dad to pick up a package. He suddenly asked, what were you thinking about at dinner? I saw you smiling to yourself. I shook my head. Nothing much. Then I said, Dad, if I divorced Willow, would you and Mom be against it? He let out a sigh. We've known something's wrong with your marriage for a while now, he said. But since you never brought up divorce, we didn't say anything either. He looked me straight in the eye. Your mom and I only have one son. Whatever you decide to do, as long as you've thought it through, we'll support you. He added, if the two of you don't want to be together anymore, then just get divorced. What's the big deal? My eyes stung. I took a breath and said, if we split, both families' interests would get divided. The company might take a hit. My dad chuckled and patted my shoulder. Don't worry about that. That's my problem to handle. If the sky falls, I'll hold it up. You're my son. If I don't clean up your mess, who will? Whatever you want to do, George, go for it. I'll always be your backup. Even so, when real stakes are on the line, I knew I still had to think carefully. Chapter 5. That night, Willow and I left my parents' place. As soon as we pulled out of their neighborhood, a man suddenly darted into the street. Thankfully, I hit the brakes in time. Still shaken, I looked up and realized the guy blocking our car was the same young man from earlier today. I was about to roll down the window and curse him out. But before I could say anything, Willow had already gotten out of the car. She stood in front of him, scolding him with an air of superiority. I couldn't hear what she was saying, but the guy looked like he was on the verge of breaking down. His face was twisted in pain, bright red with fury, veins bulging at his temples, lips trembling like he was about to explode but couldn't find the words. Something compelled me to roll down the window, just in time to hear him yell, either divorce him, or we're done. His bloodshot eyes reminded me of Anna. Earlier that day, she'd said the same thing on the phone. Either you get a divorce, or we're done. I'd said, divorcing her is complicated, Anna replied. Then break up with me. It's not like I'm anything more than your on-call entertainment anyway. Breaking up is easy, just a single sentence from you, George. Then she hung up on me. Thinking about it now, I sighed. Willow, of course, handled things differently. She sneered. Oh, look at you growing a backbone now. Fine, break up it is. What? You think I'm scared? In a minute, I'll have my husband drive me to pack my bags. I was speechless, but the guy changed his mind right after. He dropped to his knees. I don't want to break up, he pleaded. Please divorce him. Willow, I really love you. Will you marry me? I'll treat you right, I promise. Willow scoffed. You'd really marry me if I got divorced? Suddenly his eyes lit up. He nodded like a bobblehead. Of course I would. But Willow wasn't buying it. She sneered. You say that now just to get me to leave my husband. If I actually did, you'd just feel proud that you tricked me. Isn't that right? You men only like me because I'm someone else's wife. You think I'm stupid. You feed me sweet talk so I'll divorce for you, but it's all just to feed your own ego. Marry me. Who'd marry a woman who cheated on her husband? He tried to explain, but Willow was done. She flipped her hair and snapped. If you want to break up, then go. Don't ever bother me again. She turned to leave, still not giving up. He grabbed her arm. Don't go, babe. I'm sorry. Okay, you don't have to divorce him. Can we just not break up? Willow bit her lip, then forced out one word between clenched teeth. Leave. Honestly, the whole scene was absurd. I was her husband, technically. I should have been furious watching my wife fight with her side guy, or maybe pleased he was out of the picture. But all I felt was amusement. That's just how Willow is. When she likes you, she's sweet and gentle, makes you feel seen and understood. When she's over you, her words cut like knives, no filter, no mercy. When she said yes to my proposal, she cried tears of joy. I really thought I'd spend the rest of my life with her. I wanted to treat her right, grow old together. But Willow is cold at her core. One moment she's clinging to you, saying she loves you. The next, if anything doesn't go her way, she turns on you, plays mind games. She always expected me to be her emotional support, but never once asked what I needed. Bottom line, she's selfish. She doesn't love anyone. She only loves herself. Spending a lifetime as her husband. Honestly, what a joke. So when Willow got back in the car, I looked her straight in the eye and said seriously, we should get a divorce. She frowned. Where's this coming from all of a sudden? I mean it, I said. Willow, let's get a divorce. She frowned deeper. There's gotta be a reason. Is it because of that guy back there? I chuckled. Not really. The woman I've been seeing outside, she's demanding a divorce too. Says if I don't let her move up, she's leaving me. Willow snorted. Then let her leave. Go find another. Why are you always so indecisive? I shook my head. Willow, I'm not like you. I actually like her. I don't want to lose her. So yeah, we're getting divorced. She looked at me like I was being ridiculous. George, are you serious? She's just your side piece. You know how much of a mess divorce would cause for us? I lit a cigarette. Indifferent. A few $100 million, probably. Willow hated the smell of smoke, but I didn't care enough to stop. She pinched her nose. George, just throw some money at her and be done with it. If you don't know how to handle it, I can help, I replied. No need. She doesn't need the money. And the truth is, I don't want to lose her. Willow fell silent. Then she asked, you've caught feelings? I nodded. Yeah, dividing the assets will be messy, but we'll have to deal with it sooner or later. If you're busy, I'll contact a lawyer myself. Once the documents are ready, you can review them and bring up any issues you have. Sound good? Willow didn't answer right away. Instead, she asked, who is she? I wasn't sure if she'd figured it out. I smiled and said, that's none of your business. We agreed from the start, live your own life. Stay out of mine, remember? The car reached our destination. I said, this is your stop. I'm going to pick someone up. So head home yourself. I'll be in touch once the papers are drafted. Chapter 6. Just as Willow stepped out of the car, a female voice called from behind us. George. I turned and saw Anna walking toward me. She glanced briefly at Willow, then naturally slipped her arm through mine. She asked, was what you texted me earlier true? I nodded. After making up my mind, I had sent her a message. I didn't expect her to come so quickly. Willow looked at Anna, then looked back at me. She said, don't tell me the woman you've been seeing is Anna. I neither confirmed nor denied it. I just turned to Anna and said, let's go. But Willow rushed over and blocked our way. Angrily, she demanded, George, answer me. Is Anna the one you've been seeing? I frowned. Does it matter? It matters. Willow shouted. I never hooked up with your friends. I chuckled. Even if you tried, they wouldn't go for you. My guys like them young. You're not their type. Move. Willow didn't budge. She glared at Anna and said bitterly, I thought you were my best friend, and you steal my husband. Anna tilted her head slightly and smirked. Do you really think we would have ever met if it weren't for your husband? If it weren't for George, you think I would have ever agreed to be your best friend? Not only did Willow go silent, even I didn't know how to respond. Back in the car, I turned to Anna and asked, what did you mean by that? Anna gave me a sidelong glance. Exactly what I said. I clarified. Did we know each other before? Anna's expression was hard to read. Just when I thought she wouldn't answer, she said, we were classmates for 3 years in middle school. I also went to the affiliated high school. I tried to recall, but for the life of me, I couldn't remember her from back then. We're here, I said as we arrived at our destination. Before getting out, Anna turned to me and asked, George, when will you finalize the divorce? Leaning against the car door, I replied, I'll have the lawyer start the asset division tomorrow, then speak to Willow after that. Anna's eyes lit up. She smiled and asked, are you sure? I answered, yes. She asked, what if Willow refuses to divorce? I looked at her and said clearly, she'll agree. Suddenly, Anna threw herself into my arms. With a trembling voice, she said, George, the way I was raised, I was taught never to interfere in someone else's marriage. When I heard you were married after coming back to China, I had no intention of bothering you. But then I saw it with my own eyes, your wife cheating on you. And I saw you drinking alone at a bar. My heart shattered. I couldn't stand Willow. When my friend introduced her to me as her bestie, I wanted to say no, but knowing she was your wife, somehow I agreed to meet her anyway. Later, seeing you drinking like that, I wanted to go over to tell you to divorce her and stop hurting yourself, but what right did I have? We weren't even friends. To you, I was probably just your wife's friend, nothing more. I never imagined you'd actually approach me first. You don't know how happy I was in that moment. That night, nothing really happened between us. I lied to you. I just didn't want you to leave and disappear. For us to go back to being two strangers with no connection. When you told me you wouldn't divorce her but wanted me to be your girlfriend. I cried for a long time after you left. I felt like you were humiliating me. After that, I told myself, if you won't divorce her, then we'll cut ties for good. But after I drank, all I could think about was you. I told myself to stop, but I couldn't. In the end, I called you and said I was willing to be the other woman. I stood there and let Anna hold me. Her voice shaking as she poured out her heart. My chest suddenly tightened. Like something was gripping it hard. I patted her back gently and said, "You're not a mistress. Isn't it said that being unloved is what makes someone the other woman? You're not unloved." Anna buried her face in the crook of my neck. She whispered, "George, I've already broken every rule I was taught. I've lost my pride. I've lost everything. All I have left is you." I felt the warm wetness on my neck. I didn't know what to do with my hands. Anna had started crying again. Between sobs, she said, "George, don't lie to me. Please, don't hurt me." Chapter 7. Over the next few days, Willow reached out to me several times. I knew why she was contacting me, so I turned her down every time. It wasn't until the lawyer had finalized all the documents that I went to Lu Corporation to deliver the paperwork myself. The receptionist recognized me. "Mr. Wong, Miss Lu is in a board meeting with the chairman. Would you like me to take you upstairs to wait?" I replied, "No thanks. I'll head up myself." Still, she kindly helped me press the elevator button. I took the elevator to the top floor. As I was about to walk to Willow's office to wait for her, a broad-shouldered man stepped in my way. He looked me up and down with arrogance. "What department are you from?" he barked. "You blind or something? You think you can just stroll into Miss Lu's office like this is a wet market?" I didn't recognize him, but the badge around his neck read executive assistant. So this was Willow's new assistant. I immediately understood the situation. His voice was loud, and people were starting to glance our way. One of the older employees recognized me and rushed over, pulling him aside. "I'm so sorry, Mr. Wong. He's new and doesn't know who you are. Please don't take it personally. You're here to see Miss Lu, right? She's in a meeting with Chairman Lu. Please wait a moment." I nodded and walked straight into Willow's office. Behind me, the assistant was still grumbling. "Who the hell does he think he is? Why are we just letting him waltz in?" The other guy tried to hush him. "Are you nuts? That's Mr. Wong, Miss Lu's husband. If you get your face smashed in later, don't say I didn't warn you." The assistant sneered. "Him? I'm supposed to be scared of him. Please, if anything, I'd be the one doing the smashing." He peeked through the crack in the door, then deliberately raised his voice. "Besides, everyone in the company knows Miss Lu's husband keeps a side chick. If I beat him up, Willow would probably thank me." I just smiled to myself. No point bothering with him. Willow and I were getting divorced anyway. Soon, Willow came in. She said, "I've been trying to reach you these past few days, but you kept saying you were too busy. Now you suddenly have time to come over." Her tone was warm and casual, like we were just a normal married couple. I didn't waste words. I placed the divorce agreement and asset division documents in front of her. Just as I was about to speak, the assistant walked in with a coffee. He smiled. "Miss Lu, your coffee." There were 2 people in the office, yet he brought only 1 cup. Willow frowned in annoyance, but he obliviously beamed. "This is just for you. I made it specially." Willow asked, "And my husband's?" Only then did the assistant turn to me and say impatiently, "What do you want to drink?" I replied, "Nothing. I just came to say a few things, then I'll leave. Now, could you step out? Willow and I have serious business to discuss." But the guy was an idiot with zero awareness. He stood there, glaring at me, refusing to move, until Willow finally snapped. "What's wrong with you? My husband asked you to leave. What are you still doing here?" The assistant huffed. "I'm just looking out for you. What if he tries to screw you over?" Willow clenched her teeth. "Are you insane? What happens between me and my husband is none of your business." Grumbling, the assistant finally left. Willow pressed her lips together. "He's not usually like that. My dad said he's talented. That's the only reason he's still here. No idea what got into him today." I chuckled. "Probably sees me as some kind of rival." Willow's eyes flickered. She said, "I can ask my dad to have him transferred." "No need." I looked at her. "It doesn't matter anymore. We're getting divorced. Whether you want to play the role of the cheating wife or the ice-cold CEO, it has nothing to do with me now. I laid the divorce agreement open on the table. This is the property division. If you're unhappy with anything, say so now. I'll be blunt. What's up for grabs are a few villas and cars. Everything else isn't in my name. So even if you wanted a piece, you couldn't get it. To be specific, the villas I purchased after our wedding stay with me. The car my parents gave you goes to you. Of the other properties, 2 in South City are yours. The ones in West and East Loop go to me. Willow didn't even glance at the paperwork. She looked at me instead. Do we really have to divorce? Yes, I said plainly. She lifted her gaze. But I don't want to divorce. George, we don't have to end it like this. I smiled and asked. Why not? Willow, I've been tolerating you for years. You have no idea how long I've been waiting for this day. Still, she seemed convinced I'd forgive her. Is it because of that assistant? He's totally out of line. If he's the issue, I'll fire him. When I didn't respond, she tried again. Or is it about that guy from before? I told you. I already cut him off completely. George, say something. I spoke calmly. It's not about anyone. I just want a divorce. That's all. You're lying. Willow suddenly swept everything off the desk in a rage. She screamed. Not about anyone. You're divorcing me because of Anna, that home-wrecking slut. She lunged at me, scratching and clawing. You fell in love with her. How dare you fall in love with her? I slapped her across the face. Don't you fucking lose it in front of me. I shoved her off, stood up, and said coldly. If you won't sign the papers, we'll let the court handle it. Chapter 8. After attending an event, I was just about to get into my car when Anna suddenly appeared in front of me. She smiled and said, "What a coincidence. Mr. Wong, mind giving me a ride?" On the way, I asked, "Want to grab something to eat before heading home?" She nodded. Sure. It was crab season, so we ordered a dish of steamed crab. Anna had beautiful hands, and she handled the crabs with impressive finesse. It was oddly mesmerizing to watch. I couldn't help but steal a few glances. I asked, "Did you just get your nails done?" Anna nodded. "They look great," I said. Her eyelashes fluttered, and her cheeks flushed pink in an instant. I quickly changed the subject. "You said you went to the affiliated high school. How come I don't remember you?" It wasn't just me. After that day, I asked several of our old classmates, and none of them remembered her either. She explained. I only attended the school for my freshman year. Then my family sent me overseas. No wonder. After dinner, I drove her home. With a grin, I asked, "Aren't you going to invite me in?" She blinked, then turned her head away to avoid my teasing gaze. She scoffed and said, "When you're divorced, you can come in anytime. Until then, no." Just as Anna finished speaking, a voice called out behind us, "George." It was Willow. She shouted. "I knew it. I knew you'd come see her." I was speechless. She continued. "Do you even remember what today is, George? Today is our wedding anniversary. I waited for you the entire day, and you were out with another woman." Seeing her stomping and shouting like this just made me want to laugh. We'd been married for years, and only celebrated our anniversary during the first few. Even then, it was always me planning everything, preparing surprises while she barely responded. Eventually, our marriage turned into nothing but a shared routine. What's the point in celebrating? And now she suddenly wanted to play the victim. What a joke. Once she finished her outburst, I finally spoke. "You done? If so, please leave." As expected, Willow didn't back off. She reached out to grab me, but Anna stepped in and pushed her hand away. She said coldly, "Miss Liu, if you've got something to say, say it, but keep your hands to yourself." Willow snapped. "He's my husband, none of your damn business." Anna rolled her eyes. "Not for long." Willow screamed. "Anna, do you even have a conscience?" She raised her hand, about to slap Anna. But I caught her wrist midair. Frowning, I said, "Have you lost your mind? Willow, if you don't want to spend the night at the police station, I suggest you leave now." Given that the Wang and Liu families were old family friends, I didn't escalate it further, just called the residential security and had them escort her out. Finally, silence. I turned and looked at Anna. She kept her head down, lips pressed tight, looking like someone who had just been deeply wronged. I asked, "What's wrong?" Her voice was raspy when she spoke. "When she called you her husband." Just that one sentence, it crushed me. She forced a bitter smile, lips trembling. "I just wish that one day I could say you're my husband too, without shame." Without hesitation, I gently rubbed the top of her head and whispered, "Soon." Chapter 9. Willow refused to sign the divorce papers, so over the weekend, I picked a time to visit her parents. After explaining the situation between Willow and me, I handed them the prepared documents. Mr. Liu looked through the papers and tried to persuade me to stay. He said, "George, you and Willow have been together for so many years, do you really need to end it in divorce?" Our kind of families aren't like ordinary people who can separate on a whim. This involves the interests of both our families. A single move can affect everything, you understand that, don't you? I smiled faintly and said, but life isn't just about money. Uncle, Auntie, you know she's been cheating on me. If she continues to refuse the divorce, I'll have to take it to court, and that won't be a good look for anyone. That's why I came today, to ask for your help convincing her. Just as I finished, Willow suddenly ran down the stairs. She tore the documents into shreds. I told you, I'm not getting divorced, she screamed. George, you think you can leave me and go be with Anna, over my dead body? Her emotions were all over the place. She lunged at me and grabbed my arm. Grinding her teeth, she said, George, is this revenge? Because I cheated on you? Fine, you win. Okay, I don't want a divorce. I love you. I can't live without you. Break up with Anna, please. I'll behave. I'll be faithful. Let's just live like a real couple again. Okay. I pried her fingers off one by one. No. I turned to her parents. Please try to talk some sense into her. If not, I'll be submitting the paperwork to the court on Monday, Mrs. Liu asked. George, do your parents know about this? I replied. They do. They said they respect my decision. She nodded. All right. Willow wronged you. Don't worry. I'll make sure she signs. As I was about to leave, Willow still wouldn't give up. She stood in front of me, blocking the door. George, please. I know I was wrong. Just give me another chance. Okay. I yanked my arm away. And who gave me a chance? Willow, haven't you always thought of yourself as smart, independent, like you could see through men and relationships and manipulate everything with ease? Do you even know that someone recorded videos of you hooking up with multiple guys in hotels and sent them straight to my phone? Did you know they blackmailed me, said if I didn't pay them $50 million, they'd leak the footage online? Tell me, do I deserve this? Willow's pupils shrank. She choked out. I didn't know. I didn't know you went through all that. I cut her off. What are you thinking? Of course I didn't pay them. Why the hell would I give them a dime? I paused and gave her a dry smile. So, congratulations, you're officially a trending internet celeb now. She didn't stop me again. Just as I reached the door, Mrs. Liu slapped her hard across the face. Willow, do you even know what shame is? How did I raise someone like you? Chapter 10. As I was leaving the neighborhood, I ran into an old high school classmate. Back in school, we used to hang out, but eventually lost touch, he said. I heard from some classmates you've been asking about Anna. I nodded. Yeah, someone said she went to our high school, but I didn't remember her, so I asked around. He looked surprised. You forgot. Anna was in our class for all 3 years of middle school, and in high school. She sat right in front of you during freshman year. She used to be kind of chubby, then suddenly went abroad. His words sparked a vague memory. There was a girl like that, quiet, shy, always blushing when you talked to her, he continued. She didn't have many friends back then. None of us knew she was the daughter of the Su family, but wow, talk about a glow-up. She's tall, gorgeous now, he added. If you want her number, I could ask my wife, Anna knows her. I smiled and shook my head. No need, thanks. We chatted briefly and I said goodbye, but just as I took a few steps away, he called out again. George. Yeah. There's something. I'm not sure if I should tell you. I raised an eyebrow. He sighed. This is my bad. Really. Back when Anna and I were neighbors, before she went abroad, she gave me a letter, a love letter, for you. She asked me to give it to you, but I lost it. Later, when you got with Willow, I didn't bring it up again. I'm sorry. George, did I mess things up for you? I shook my head. It's fine. It's all in the past. Chapter 11. The day I got my divorce certificate, Anna acted like it was no big deal, but the smile tugging at the corners of her lips never faded. I asked. Finished reading it. Give it back. Anna glanced at me, then slipped the certificate into her purse. She said, "This is great." "What is?" She smiled. "The weather's great, the breeze is nice, and you're here." Then she rose up on her toes and kissed me. "You're the best," she whispered. Anna's eyes sparkled with emotion. She wrapped her arms around my neck and kissed me again and again, until my heart raced and my mind went completely blank. Then a single tear fell on the back of my hand. She asked softly, "George, can we be together now?" Her eyes were wet, deep black like two swirling galaxies. I leaned down and kissed her. "Of course," I said.